welcome to one of the more intense battles that I've had in this mod, surprisingly. This was up against the player known as Richard, and this was only last night, but as you can see I'm playing the Dark Elves, he's playing Ostermark. You normally don't see Ostermark out of all the Empire rosters, but here they are. So my army includes the infantry corps includes of Bleak Swords, 3 units of them, followed up by 3 units of Dark Shards, and then 3 units of Dread Spears. Pretty basic infantry. Behind them we have the more specialized 2 units of Witch Elves, 1 Harengareth Executioner, or the Executioners, and 1 unit of Blackguards and Nagaroth. Yeah. And then we have 1 unit of Veteran Cold Ones, another unit of just normal Cold Ones, Assassins, then 2 units of Dark Riders on either flank of my army. Now the battle does get underway pretty quickly, so yeah. On Richard's army we have 3 units of Hunters of Sigmar, 2 units of Death Heads, which are Halberdier infantry, very good, have pretty good morale. Then 2 units of Greatsword Bodyguards and 1 Greatsword, or 2 Greatswords, yeah, and 1 unit of Witch Hunters, 2 Handgunners, 4 Flagellants, and then over here we have the Blackguard more. Sorry, I've just been playing so much Total War. Overall, very strong cavalry army. So let's see how this battle begins. Oh, of course, I already know its outcome. Balance of powers, you don't always want to believe that, but here you see I'm advancing my Dark Shards up, and immediately we just see the Flagellants spring into action. These lightly armored troops are unbreakable. On either side I got my Dark Riders, moving into position to harass the cavalry. Handgunners already opening up into my Dark Shards, so quite good range actually, but they are somewhat risking friendly fire. Dark Shard's gonna fire a volley off on these fools. Yeah, devastating, but I'm only able to get 1 volley off because I'm worried about cavalry attacks. So you see quite an aggressive play from Richard here. I wish we could slow it down, but we can't. We got handgunners shooting in the back, and on either side we got these cavalrymen. My skirmish cavalry not really able to match up to them, only able to flee, and my Cold Ones being forced in reserve. Then I'm committing my melee infantry head on into these Flagellants. This is a situation you want them in because Flagellants do a ton of damage. Yeah, that's up against Bleak Swords and Bleak Spears, so quite impressive. My Assassins running over. I mean, they're not going to do that much against the Blackguard and more ones charge, but they got a nice throwing dagger that they kill instantly with. I got my Cold Ones moving into action. So now, because Richard's allowed his cavalry to be chase my Dark Riders, I'm able to then pursue. Sorry about that. Windows decided to be a bit crap there. So here we are again. I got my general with bodyguard. I didn't bring that much cavalry. Dark Elf cavalry is insanely expensive, but rather durable. But against elite cavalry like the Hunters of Sigmar, it will be a pretty grinded out battle. In the meantime, we have the main battle going on. I managed to sneak through his center where his Flagellants were fighting into his nice juicy handgunner corps. But the Greatswords are going to come up. And just the sheer weight and numbers from the Greatswords will put massive pressure on my Harengareth Executioners. Either flank in the infantry fight, we do have the arrival of the Death's Head. I'm going pretty quick, but this battle is very quick pace. Next, my Assassins over here, they did do nah. They died a lot more, but they put up one hell of a fight against the Blackguard more, despite their armor. They are just light infantry. Dark Rider is going to get sandwiched here. Nothing I can do about that. Oh, no, they actually escaped. I'll be damned. More combat over here. Dark Shards just get repetitively charged. You got my Blackguard and Nagaroth here, who will just murder cavalry. Yeah. And that was with a charge, people. Always remember to charge your Blackguard of Nagaroth if you're fighting cavalry. Bleak Swords over here struggling. Like, they got weakened by the Flagellants pretty heavily, as you can see, but the other unit's fine. Pretty messy battle coming up. The Bleak Swords here are fighting all these Great Swords. Harengareth Executioners. Micromanagement was not that great here. But my Witch Elves came. They're running through. Just running in, killing as many of these handgunners as possible. Yeah. On this flank, things are looking good for an infantry fight, though. I got a number advantage, so the Death's Head outmatched by Dark Elven skill. Yeah, it's not looking good for them. My few remaining Death Shards are just shooting into Richard's cavalry. Micromanagement, but to be honest, pretty hard to micro in this game, especially with Classic. Oh, he did commit another unit of cavalry here. Cold One's still holding out. They're just tearing through any challengers. Me General here, looking all nice and, well, evil, as a Dark Elf should. Over here, Blackguard and Nagaron still fighting, taking down yet another unit of Blackguard and more. To be honest, you don't really need to put these guys in the halberd formation. They still do a ton of damage either way. Like, there's them forming up into halberd formation. So you see them dropping their spears or halberds. Yeah. Anything that walks close to them are dead. Over here we have the last few remaining witch hunters up against the Heron Gareth in that. Richard's greatswords, I can't really slow it down, so it's very hard to keep pace because of all the cavalry in that. Just fighting, like just tearing through any challengers that come from them. I mean, like my lower tier Dark Elf infantry like Bleak Swords and Dread Spears are no match for the Great Swords, but the Witch Elves of Cain are. My last remaining Dark Shards just dying tragically. A few got out though, and they're still fighting. The Dark Elf Repeater Crossbow is just amazing. But my cavalry finally submitting. But it was one hell of a long fight. Like, these guys are riding raptors. It should be expected to take down this many. Like, Hunters of Sigmar are pretty high tier. They cost 1,000 each or something. But now my infantry's free on this flank. You can see the Death's Head holding out for extremely long. Cavalry charge coming in. Yeah. Hunters of Sigmar, just if you're wondering what my cavalry is, it's dead. I mean, like, they put up a fight, but he had so much cavalry. But to be honest, it was a good plan. Using the infantry. Like, he's got to solve the infantry corps with the great swords as well. You know, like, I'm forced to just sit here and get into this grinded out melee. I got my Heron Gareth executioners coming in from the rear. Yeah, now we're starting to see the Ostenland troops flee. Because they're surrounded, but the great swords will hold out for a bit. Have to move my Blackguard and Nagaroth into a flanking position, and you know when you get outflanked by halberds you're doing terrible, but they've taken so many people down with them. Yeah. They're heavily armored, but up against Witch Elves, Bleak Swords, Heron Gareth, Executioners, yeah, it's a brutal, grinded out melee. I got my Blackguard and Nagaron trying to pursue here, trying to avenge my last veteran Cold One, who's just tying down the enemy, but he gets his cavalry out. So now the problem is I have this exposed infantry corps, and over here on this hill, just very sneakily, lies a unit of handgunners in wait, and they actually do have improved range. So yeah, still very close battle. My army, it hasn't suffered that many losses, but do remember we still have to fight for this corps of elite infantry, as well as deal with the psycho charges of enemy cavalry, which do a large amount of damage. I love that spinny attack they have though. It's the most unhistorical, unrealistic attack ever, but still glorious. So the Witch Elves are still fighting up against heavy infantry, and like this, they won't hold out for long. But with the arrival of the Blackguard and Nagaron, yeah, Nagaron, they would just tear. But cavalry charges still kill the Blackguard pretty quickly. It doesn't help because they're both named Blackguard. Well, Moor, the Knights of Moor. You see, there's still some cheeky crossbow bolts coming from the last Dark Shards. Last of the Dark Riders are also over here, fighting with one Blackguard and more. He died. These Dark Shards gonna die gloriously. Yeah. Got Witch Elves pursuing. Not a good move. You never want infantry to pursue out too far when dealing with this much cavalry. Enemy handgunners over there. So they're just going to be firing into our backs all the time. You can see our last few remaining Dark Elves still fighting, but then the enemy finally breaks the Great Swords at long last. Well, the biggest detachment of them do. The others refuse to surrender, but then are sacrificed to Cain, so it's cool. So now we have just the last few combatants. Very close combat here. We got Richard with two units of, no, 3 because of that one last guy. 3 units of Knights, 2 Guards of Moor, and 1 Hunter Sigmar, and Empire Handgunners up against 2 units of depleted Witch Elves, Blackguard and Agaron, and 2 units of Bleak Swords. Witch Elves are not the best for taking cavalry charges either, but I do need them to just run in and deal with these handgunners before they really get their shots off. Having to use my Bleak Swords, I would like Dread Spears in this situation, but alas they're all dead or ran away like cowards. Yeah, this is just where the battle becomes micro-intensive. Because now the Witch Elves are just here and they've shredded the last of the handgunners. We capture these Blackguard and more. Yeah. Though we do lose a unit of Bleak Swords as a result. Sacrifice, eye for an eye at this stage. And it is brutal. Like, there are, how many left? There's 8 Empire Knights on the field. Just 8 of them left on the field up against around about 30 elves? 30, yeah, 30. Something about that. I mean, it's a very close battle, and you can see this last Blackguard gonna prove his point, gonna prove his worth by running into a rock and killing 2 Blackguard and Agaron with his frickin' horse. I was not pleased. Like, cavalry charges in this game are so powerful if done correctly. My last few Witch Elves just dragging into melee here up against heavily armored cavalry. You wouldn't think they would do that well. But if they weren't tired, they would have done better. They did kill 1 person though. Yeah, these ladies are berserkers. Lightly armored, but damn, they do a lot of damage. So yeah, my last Bleak Swords, I put them in the shield wall to try and help with the cavalry charges, while simultaneously guarding the back of my elite Blackguard of Nagaron. So here comes another cavalry charge. My men are going to try and countercharge. They miss. They didn't have any upgrades. No weapons, no armor. Just no upgrades. Yeah. You see all the Witch Elves are now dead. They did take down another horseman though. And now I have no choice but to form up my Blackguard and Nagaron. Like, I gotta use my Bleak Swords to cover my flanks. All I can do is hope that they run into my halberds at this point. But overall, just a very, very bloody battle, especially here with the Great Swords. Flagellants wasn't too bad, but the cavalry charges were just murder for my infantry. A lot of dead, though. A lot of dead. So the last Blackguard more charged in. Here we have a cavalry charge coming in from the Hunters of Sigmar. Put down your halberd! Put that down! Idiot. If he had just put down his halberd, this would have been avoided. Yeah, this one last Blackguard and more, it's still the same one from before, and he's just going berserk. He's going to town on those damn Bleak Swords. And then we have the Hunters of Sigmar, so now it's only around about 4 Empire Knights left up against 16 Dark Elves. Mind you, 8 of them are Blackguard and Agaron, but the Bleak Swords don't feel too opportunistic about this. It's such a hard battle though. And you could say cavalry's OP, but if microed correctly, anything's OP. If I still had my Dark Shards left, which, you know, they did all that by themselves. Yeah. So now you can see Richard's cavalry just trotting along, trying to find a weak point in my noob box, essentially. And it's quite easy. I lack the manpower to form a proper box. So where will this cavalry fall, huh? Will it be from the Hunters of Sigmar? Or the solitary Knight of Mor? Ah, here they come. A countercharge was the best thing to do in that situation because it nullifies their charge bonus as well as gives me time to hit back. Yeah, then my last unit of Bleak Swords routes. The other one died. And I was so devastated at this point. So now there's only 6 men. 6 elves left. 6 against 3. We outnumber them 2 to 1, literally. Well, that's why I thought. Until this idiot comes in, kills 3 Blackguard and Nagaron by himself. Then the 2 Hunters of Sigmar run in. He kills 1 down. Then the Knight of Mor tries to get more kills. Greedy. Ah, so greedy. So now it's literally 2v2. 2 cavalrymen versus 2 halberdiers. The ultimate question. The balance of power. Even. Well, slightly to it. Here they come. And I'll launch a counter charge. Kill the bloody Blackguard of Mor. And then, finally, I'm hoping to kill this Hunter Sigmar, but he just gets away. So now I got no choice but to hide in the enemy corpses and hope that he forgets about me and admits defeat. But here he comes. He's exhausted. He didn't have enough time to get his charge distance, but he still strikes. That was just one brutal battle. And that's it. The battle's over, as you can see. It was just, it was too gruesome. Here's all my kills if you want to see them. Sadly enough, I don't have any of Richard's kills, but GG, that was intense. That was so very intense. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. And if you send in your replays, I may put them up on my channel. May.